Coming to you live from the palatial studios of PBJ Productions. Welcome to Patrick and BJ Talk Real Estate, where we talk about life, the universe, and everything as it relates to real estate. Hey everybody, it's BJ.
And Patrick.
And we're back talking all things real estate. Thank you for joining us today. If you haven't, I just want to encourage you to take a minute and subscribe to the channel. We are putting out regular content 3, 4, 5 times a week, and just want to make sure that you don't miss out on anything. And if there's information that you think would be valuable to anybody else, just encourage you also to share that so that we can get the word out and grow the channel.
Yeah, this time we're going to be talking about quality of life.
Okay.
Which is kind of, might seem a little bit odd, but I dug up a CTV News article from earlier this year, and it was talking about tenants having a lower quality of life than homeowners.
Very interesting. Okay.
Right? You would think with you're renting, you have the freedom of going somewhere or picking up and moving, right? If your job situation changes,
right,
you have an opportunity somewhere, or just you want to just pick up and go.
Sure.
Maybe you want to be a nomad or something for a little while, right?
Jack Reacher.
Reacher,
it's the...
I seen the Tom Cruise one and only the clips that you showed me.
Yeah, the real
TV show.
The stuff on Prime is a way better representation of Reacher from the books than the Tom Cruise movies.
Is he a gypsy?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's a nomad.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
But if you're not a secret agent, right? He's a secret agent?
He's not really secret. He's just walking around doing stuff. Yeah. Anyway.
Also, he's a vigilante. He's like Batman.
Almost.
All right, so let's move on. Okay, so CTV News. Why renters report a lower quality of life than homeowners, according to experts. So the data comes from Stats Canada.
Okay.
Stats Canada added it all up.
Okay.
So for people living in a rental housing, it's not a secret. It can be stressful. Okay. A new study from Statistics Canada says renters report a lower quality of life compared to people who own their homes. Canadians who rent reported feeling financial strain, and advocates say that's no surprise.
Really? And I'm curious, did the advocates say anything else about why that's no surprise?
There's more to it, but the first one was the financial strain. So,
okay.
Your rent is going to be capped to the inflation rate.
Sure.
So at least you have some security for a year,
yeah,
right, before it goes to increase.
Yeah.
But if your hydro's not included, that can still increase over time.
Sure.
All your other cable, telephone, internet.
Yeah.
All that stuff adds up, right?
You can, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, and if you're living in places where, maybe the homeowner, this is where the other one is, they're talking about stability and security.
Okay.
A lot of people are experiencing they don't know if they're going to be there for a whole year. They don't know if the landlord's going to come back and move into the property.
Sure.
Or if a family member. And these are all legitimate reasons for somebody to be evicted for not doing anything wrong. Not a rent eviction, not late on payments or anything like that.
Yeah.
But if a family member wants to or wants to be occupied by a family member and the owner says, yes, that's fine, well then what do you got to do? You get your proper notice.
Right.
And let's say you've been there for a few years, and you got the 5 years ago rent.
Yes.
And now you're going to be, if you want to stay in the same sort of area without moving further, you're going to look at a huge increase on your rental.
Got it.
So
they feel some general instability with
yes,
just the fact that they can be asked to leave almost at any time if we're talking about the landlord.
Correct, right?
Okay.
If you're in a rental building, that's a whole different situation, and maybe that doesn't apply. And the other one is, because they're renting, they don't seem to be connected with the community as much. Now, that's probably a generalization, I think.
Yeah, but it's an interesting point, because one of the things that happens, if we're talking about, houses in neighborhoods, you get to know your neighbors. Right, and you get to know the kids that live on. I remember growing up as kids, got to know the other kids that lived in. We lived on an acreage at one point. Got to know all the other kids in the subdivision.
Yeah.
Right.
I rented a 2-bedroom apartment with my best friend a long time ago. I didn't know anybody else in the building.
Yeah.
And we were in an apartment building.
Right. And I guess it's pretty hard to say that there's something specific that you're a renter, therefore you don't have any other connections. But I think it's probably a little bit more indicative of where we're at in society, where so much interaction is done online, and it's done on a surface basis. You know, we meet somebody at work, or we know from work, we know somebody maybe from the gym or from church or something like that. But do we really have, like a real friendship with them, or is it an acquaintance? Pardon me.
That's a good way to differentiate that, because it feels like I know a lot. I know, like, I don't know why. Like, I've been networking. I've been in the community, church, and the kids' school. Like, I know a lots of acquaintances.
Yeah.
I have a handful of friends.
Yeah.
And I'm happy.
Yeah.
But that's my personality.
Sure.
I don't look to have like more friends.
Yeah. But I think that they say that's the norm, but I think what I'm thinking is you're talking about now in today,
Yeah.
you're coming into a new community, and how are you going to make connections with other people? How are you going to, meet these people?
Yeah.
And one of the easiest ways, if you're moving into a neighborhood or a condo, even in a condo, because you're going to go to a strata meeting at some point, or you're going to meet your neighbors and say, hey, I'm your new neighbor. I just, they just moved in or whatever. There's that part of it, I guess. But I find it interesting that you wouldn't make that same connection if you were a renter, unless you feel more transient, I guess.
I was younger before, I was still pretty young when I bought my condo.
Yeah.
But it's like people reached out and be like, oh, we're your new neighbors now. But when I was a renter, nobody cared. You
Yeah.
probably saw people coming and going and
Yeah.
never made a connection, right?
Yeah.
But then, of course, I moved to a smaller building than my rental building as a condo, and I knew everybody.
Right.
I knew everybody in the building, and then at work, and I knew everybody at the wife's work too. So,
Right.
But it was the point of just reaching out and saying hello,
Yeah.
and then just being polite. And Victoria is a little bit funny that way, right?
Yeah.
We can be very polite,
Yep.
and we will engage with other people. Mm-hmm. It's still hard to make friends. So
Yeah.
think about this: like, Victoria has $400,000 population, and then you go to somewhere like Vancouver. Metro Vancouver is like double the population of our whole Greater Victoria area into the metro area.
Yeah. Greater Victoria is what, 6 something?
400.
All of it?
400. The island's 800.
Okay.
I'm rounding up.
Yeah.
So, we're still quite a bit spread out, and all of a sudden you have like double our Greater Victoria area into the Metro of Vancouver.
Yeah.
So there's that, and it allows you to be anonymous.
Yeah.
Like you won't go to the grocery store likely and bump into people.
Right.
Like, it's ridiculous. Like, I'm in Langford or downtown. Even people when I worked in the Navy, this is like 1995 to 2000. And I'll go downtown, I'll go to a record store, I'll go to a clothing store, something that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And I'll bump into people from like 20 years ago. And they're here on their tour, right? Or they're on training or something like
Right.
that. It's a small town.
Yeah.
It's a big small town.
Right.
So you can't get away from it here. There, I think you can easily be anonymous if you don't try.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay.
So, but a little bit more. This information was compiled from 2021 to 2022, when rent and mortgage rates were even lower than they are today. The data shows renters were 15 percentage points more likely to report difficulty meeting financial needs, and over 11 percentage points less likely to report high overall life satisfaction when compared to homeowners.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'd like to know, there's got to be more to it than just that. Statistically, there's got to be more on either side of that equation.
I think this explains a little bit more. Tenants were also less likely to report a strong sense of belonging to their community, and more likely to report feeling of loneliness. So we talked about this,
Yeah.
So it kind of goes along the same lines. Like, maybe if you're in one of these big metropolitans, you're anonymous, and maybe you feel alone because it's hard to make a connection.
Right.
If you walk around if you walk around here and you're like even walking the dog, you know, or going for a walk anywhere, and
Yeah.
you just acknowledge the person that's walking past you.
Yeah.
Like, we're still pretty friendly here in Victoria.
Yeah.
You know, downtown we have the tourists and that, but like when it's not like busy with tourist season,
Yeah.
like people are still friendly that way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I got that.
I think
Yeah.
I would just encourage people, if you're genuinely interested in what somebody's doing, start a conversation, right?
Sure.
I think that's, if you have a similar interest with somebody, I think that's how it starts. Yeah, you're going to the gym all the time. You're going to see people there, you know, and maybe there's still acquaintances,
Yeah.
but yeah, have a sense of belonging
It's
somewhere.
interesting. Okay.
So I'll wrap it up there on the article.
Okay.
But you know, I think that just goes to show, if you are in a rental situation, those benefits of becoming a homeowner are not just they're not purely for investment purposes. So the number one reason people that would want to buy a home and get into their first time
Yeah.
house is for an investment. And I
Yes.
could see that
Yeah.
as building a long-term nest egg.
Yeah.
But there's so many intangible things that are beneficial outside of just you're building up equity.
Right.
You're hedging against rental
Yeah.
inflation.
Yeah. I think that's
Right.
that's it for sure. The intangibles, right? That's the community.
Yeah, put down roots,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Your
yeah.
kids go to school,
For sure.
join a church, whatever the case may be, right? And then maybe that gives you that incentive of, you know, if you're into like, there's so much outdoor activity stuff here,
Yeah.
right? And there's meetup.com. That's not the only one. I'm not endorsing it. It's not a sponsored thing. It's just one of those things, like if you're looking to meet up with people that have similar interests,
Yeah.
right? I heard they're kind of like dating pools, but I don't do that. So anyways.
Okay. All right. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for joining us. And like I said, if you haven't, please take a minute, subscribe to the channel. We are putting out content every week. So I want to make sure that you don't miss out on anything. And yeah,
I'm not giving out dating advice, but hey, catch us in the next episode.
see ya.
Take care.